Elsie here, and I have Dustin with me. If you've taken my class at the studio, you know that I only do about 10% of the class. So until I can build up some stamina to be able to teach and do all of the class, I've got Dustin here to help me out. So we're actually going to get started. This is a 60-minute all-level flow, and we're going to begin on our backs. So coming onto your backs, you can kind of determine what feels best for you here. You could begin with bent knees. You could extend your feet out in front of you. Or you could invite the soles of the feet to touch, maybe finding yourself in that Supta Baddha Konasana shape. Arms are just going to rest heavily out beside you, or you could choose to place one hand onto your heart and one hand upon your belly if you wish to connect with the movement of your breath as the hands rise and fall. Close down your eyes. Release your tongue from the roof of the mouth, finding a slight part of your lips. Draw a deep inhale into your nose to fill your belly, chest, and lungs. And then audible exhale out the mouth, release and empty. Let's take two more together. As you inhale, you fill, the belly rises, the diaphragm expands. And exhale, release all the air out completely. Draw one more deep in breath into that belly space. And exhale, let it go. Now you could continue with this deep rhythmic breath, or you can begin to fire up your Ujjayi breath, sending inhales through your nose and exhales out your nose. Working to generate heat within the body, focus and concentration in the mind. Take just a few more moments here with your breath. And then on your next inhale, begin to reach your arms up overhead. You take your toes to the front. Let's find a nice deep morning stretch here. And just begin to move around any sluggish or stagnant energy by wiggling out your fingertips, your toes, your wrists, and ankles. Take a moment to actively shrug your shoulders to your ears, finding space through the trunk sides of your body as you lengthen on that inhale breath. Exhale, we begin to draw the knees in towards the chest, thighs to belly. As you pull your knees tightly in towards the torso, start to find a gentle lateral rock right to left. Taking a little massage for the low back. If you want a little bit more intensity into the backs of the legs, pull your knees in tighter towards your chest, rounding the posterior chain a little bit more. If you've got tight hip flexors, place your hands onto your knees and start to draw big circles on the ceiling, stirring up any synovial fluid in the hips. Maybe taking your circles in the opposite direction. Just finding some movement at the low body. And then pull your knees back in towards your chest. We're going to send your legs to tabletop. Place your hands outside of your hips, stacking your knees over your hips and your ankles in line with your knees. Now actively press your navel in towards your spine so that you're not curving through the low back. And then from here, you're going to take your hands behind your head. Now as you press your head into your palms, you inhale, we're going to lift up the head, neck, and shoulders. So as you start to lift the chin up towards the sky, you pressing your spine deeply into the mat, we're going to pull the elbows towards your knees, curling in nice and tight. And then as you exhale, we're going to open up, tapping your toes to the earth, and your chin reaches up towards the sky. Exhale, we take it in, we tap elbows to thighs, and then open up. Good. Exhale, breath takes it in, you find that compression. Your inhale, you create the length. Now, if this is too intense on your low back, all you're going to do is decrease your range of motion with your legs, keeping your toes hovering off and away from the mat instead of taking them all the way down. Let's go for 3 more. 3. Let's go for 2. We're going to hold on this third and final one, squeezing your elbows towards the outer thighs, chin to your chest, lift up a little bit more, take an inhale as you compress. Exhale, we're going to lower head, neck, and shoulders and send your legs back to tabletop. Now find a slight separation of the feet and the knees, and then send your hands out, and we're going to thread that left hand inside the thighs, and that right hand comes outside of the right leg. Good, as you inhale, we're gonna come back up through center. We're gonna take it, the right hand inside the thighs, reaching that left hand to the top left corner of the room. So we're gonna go side to side. Your legs stay nice and stable here. If you need more, draw your toes further to the front of the room, creating a little bit more resistance for the transverse abdominals. If this is too much, take your arms overhead. You can just go side to side in between and outside the legs here instead of taking the arms up and over. As we go for 3. Let's take 2 more each side. 1 more over to the right. And then over to the left. Coming back to center, you're gonna drop your hands down, drop your feet down. Let's take a bridge, pressing into all 4 corners of the feet. Lift your hips up to release the abdominal. And then pull your knees back in towards the center. Refrain from letting them sway out to the side as you squeeze your glutes. As you exhale, we're going to gently roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Press into your palms, send your legs back to tabletop once again. Now you're going to zip your inner thighs and ankles together. And we're going to take little tick-tocks. It might be helpful here to take your hands out to the side. And you're just going to take your knees over to the right, just about 10-15 degrees. Keep squeezing legs together. As you inhale, we're going to come back to center. And then we're going to send your knees over to the left, just about 10-15 degrees. Find the stabilization of the core and the pelvis as you come back to center. Now let's take it about 20 degrees as we drop it over to the right. And then back to center. Let's take it over to the left. Good, coming back to center. Let's go about 25 here, taking it down a little bit further. Using your obliques to come back to center before dropping them over to the left. Good, back to center. Let's take it about 50 degrees, lower it halfway down. Keep pressing into your arms. Use your side body to take it back through center before we tick-tock the knees over to the left about 50 degrees. Inhale back to center. Let's go 75, hovering the knees away from the mat. Good, now come back to center. We go over to the left. Coming back to center, we're going to drop the knees slowly all the way down to the right side, finding a supine twist. Your legs land and you send your gaze over to that left middle finger. If you want more traction and manipulation, place that right hand upon the left thigh, roll the left shoulder down and get a nice twist and rotation of the spine. Release that right hand from left thigh, send it back out to a T-shape. Gaze goes back up, squeezing inner thighs together. Nice and slow, come back to center with that control. Now we're going to gently lower the legs over to the left, as slow and controlled as you can manage. The legs drop, the left hand arrives at the right thigh. We plug that right shoulder down and send your gaze over to the right middle finger. Deep breaths all the way down to your low back and out the crown of the head. Releasing left hand from right thigh, squeezing your legs together, we come back to center. And then as you exhale, pull your knees into your chest, giving yourself a little bit of a squeeze. Option here to find momentum through a little rock and roll, or you could roll to your side, but we are going to roll over the shins, over the ankles, and coming into your all fours, your tabletop pose. If you're high on your mat, you might want to position yourself about halfway down. Spreading fingertips really wide, wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips for spinal undulations. Inhale, we arch the belly, arch the back, drop the belly, send your gaze high. And then as you exhale, press the earth away, chin to chest, navel to spine. Begin to close your eyes and just start to find movement as it connects with the breath. And then notice where you're holding tension into the back side of your body. You could send your movement side to side. You can send your gaze over opposite shoulders. You could take a moment to stretch out your wrists and forearms. Just moving organically through this shape to find some movement of the spine, the hips, and the shoulders. And then come back to your neutral spine. Weight goes into that left knee as we send that right heel back for half spinal balance. Rotate the right pinky toe down. Draw your navel in towards your spine here, and then we're gonna bend that right knee 90 degrees, like you're stamping that right heel on the sky. Now we're gonna take a little mini kundalini. You're gonna squeeze that right thigh behind the left, and then as you exhale, we're gonna send that right knee to that right tricep, open up. So finding an internal and external rotation. We squeeze that right thigh behind the left, dipping that right knee outside the left, and then open up on your exhale, sending right knee towards the right tricep. Let's take 2 more. As we squeeze, we find the compression. As we exhale, we open and lift. 1 more time. Squeeze that right knee behind the left. As you exhale, open up and hold. See if you can lift that right knee up a little bit higher. Try not to take additional weight into that left hand. And we're going to straighten out that right leg and set the right foot down. So gate latch pose, as you rise onto that left knee, we open up your arms. Now externally rotate this right toe up towards the sky. Modified warrior B. Begin to bend into that right knee and find a little bit of movement side to side. Working to create space into your inner thighs. Good. We're going to hold in that modified B, working into your modified side angle. Right elbow, right thigh, left arm is going to reach up and over. If you want more, slide that right hand down inside of that right leg, and then reach your chest up and send your gaze underneath the left underarm. Feel the side body lengthen as you inhale. Inhale, we're going to come back up to center. Find a straight right leg once again. Drop your hips towards your heels as your hands land, coming into that funky child's pose. Option to walk your fingertips forward, or you can crawl your hands to the top right corner of the room, getting a little bit more of a side body stretch as well as a deeper inner thigh extension. Take a deep breath into your left side. Inhale, we're going to keep the hands back to center, coming up to all threes. As you rise back up onto that left knee, we send that right heel back. Back into that half spinal balance as you tuck your left toe underneath, 3-legged downward facing dog. As we send that right heel high, you rotate your right pinky toe down. See if you can square off your hips here. Send an inhale to that right heel. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over the wrists. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose and hold. Press the earth away, guide that knee in a little bit closer towards your chest, and then step the right foot between your hands, Salamba Anjane, dropping left knee down, untuck your left toes, sweeping arms up towards the sky. Feel that left hip flexor expand. If you need a little less, place your hands down to frame that right foot instead. From here, you're going to take that right hand onto that right hip. We lean over to the right side of the room. If you've got the flexibility, you can drop that right hand outside of that right hip to the ground. Gaze underneath that left arm. Inhale, we're going to come back to center. Right arm reaches high. Exhale, hands down. Frame the right foot and straighten out that right leg. Half split, Ardha Hanuman. Pull left hip forward and fold over that right leg. If you want more into the IT band, you're going to walk your hands outside of that right ankle and begin to crawl them to the top right corner of the room. Navigating that left hip forward, you drop your chin to your chest and feel the outer edge of that right leg. Good. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Gaze forward beyond your right toes as you reframe that right ankle. Bend into that right knee. Tuck your left toe underneath, runner's twist. Left hand plants, right arm goes high. Opening up your chest to the right side of the room. If you're ready for a horizon lunge, you can roll to the outer edge of that left foot, taking all 10 toes to the right, reaching right hand to the back of the room. Inhale, we unravel, sending that right hand outside of the right foot. And with a big step, stepping left foot behind that left wrist for a ragdoll pose. Generous bend in your knees. You can grab opposite elbows as you dangle here. If you want more traction of the spine, you could interlace your hands behind your head, pulling chin towards your chest. See if you can take a little bit more weight into the balls of the feet and less into those heels. Deep breaths as you exhale, send your belly towards your thighs. As you exhale, release your hands to the shins or to the earth and lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Press into your feet. We root to rise, sweeping arms up towards the sky. The right hand locates the left wrist, taking a side body stretch, reaching it over to the right. Gaze underneath the left underarm. Inhale, back to center, cactus open, elbows towards your kidneys. Open up your heart and send your gaze high. Inhale, take your arms up, left hand grabs for that right wrist. Let's go over to the left and gaze to the right. Inhale, back to center, cactus open, elbows towards your kidneys. Find a slight bend in your knees, Baddha your Hasta, interlacing your hands behind you. We begin to reach your knuckles towards your heels and open up the chest. Exhale with the bent knees, you begin to forward fold, hinging from your hips, dropping crown of the head to the top edge of your mat. Your knuckles go forward as you feel that chest and shoulder stretch. Inhale to your knuckles. Exhale, hands go down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. Walk your feet back into that plank pose. As you find yourself in plank, if you need to modify, just lower down to your knees, finding a more supportive plank here. Zipping inner thighs together, navel draws in towards the spine. If you want a little bit more, you can begin to rock forward and backward. Good, holding for 3 rounds of breath, wherever you're at. Inhale, you're gonna shift it forward. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin. Coming all the way down to your belly, you slide your thumbs to the upper rib cage. Now press into your pubic bone and peel the chest up and away from your mat. Take a slight little tuck of the chin down so your spine stays nice and long. Pressing into the tops of your feet, maybe you lift and hover your hands here, finding an unsupported Bhujangasana. Inhale. Exhale, you lower it down, pressing into your palms, child's pose, hips to heels. Option to take your knees wide here and let the chest fall between the thighs. Reminder, you can come back here at any time during today's practice if you need a rest or to catch up with your breath. Looking to the top of your mat, we're going to come to all fours. This time the weight goes into that right knee as we send that left heel back for that half spinal balance. Rotate your left pinky toe down, and then bend that left knee. Printing that left heel on towards the sky, you're going to inhale, lift the heel high. Exhale, we're going to squeeze the left thigh behind the right, find a squeeze, and then open up, left knee, same tricep. We take that 3 more times. You squeeze that left thigh behind the right. Exhale, we open and tap. 2 more as we press that left thigh behind the right. Exhale, we open. 1 more, we squeeze. We're going to hold on this final one, pulling that left knee towards the same tricep. See if you can lift it up. Take a little bit more weight into that left hand. We're going to straighten out that left leg and lower the left foot down to the ground. Rising up onto that right knee for gate latch pose. Externally rotate your left toes up and begin to bend into that left knee. Let's find this a modified warrior bee with some space and some movement. Going right to left. We're going to hold at that deepest point in your warrior bee, working into your modified side angle. Left elbow, left thigh, right arm reaches up. You could slide that left hand down inside that left leg if you're looking for more, or reach that right bicep over the right ear as you find extension through the right side body. Using your right side obliques, coming back up, straighten out that left leg. Funky child's pose, lower hips towards your right heels. You send your fingertips to the top of your mat. You could stay here. You could walk your hands to the top left corner of the room, dropping your head down between the gate of the biceps. Feel that right side body stretch now. Inhale, you walk your hands back to center. Let's come back up onto that right knee. As we float that left heel back once again in that half spinal balance, tuck your right toe underneath, 3-legged downward facing dog. Square off your hips, rotating left pinky toe down. And as you exhale, left knee to your nose. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, left leg high. Third and final time, pull the knee in, press through the palms of your hands, lifting the knee up a little bit higher into your chest. Step it in between your hands, low lunge, dropping right knee down, sweeping arms high. Untuck those back right toes here. We're gonna get that side body stretch. Left hand arrives at your left hip, And we start to lean over to the left side of the room. Left hand can lower down to the ground if you can. If you want to challenge your balance, send your gaze to the right side of the room. Inhale, back to center, left hand high. Exhale, hands go down. Frame that left foot, half split Ardha Hanuman. Straighten out that left leg, sending hips back towards your right heel. And then fold here. We're going to get that IT band. As you lift halfway, crawl your hands outside of that left ankle bone and reach into the top left corner of the room. It's going to pull that right hip forward and drop your head down as if you were gazing towards the outer edge of that left knee. Hold for 2. Lifting halfway, we reframe that left ankle. Look to the top of your mat, bending into the left knee. Lift right knee up, right hand plants, left arm reaches high, runner's twist. Open up on that inhale. Now option for that horizon lunge. All 10 toes can reach the left. Left hand can reach the back of the mat if you want to dip that right hip down. Inhale, we unravel. Send left hand down. Looking to the top of your mat, step that right foot behind the right wrist. Forward fold to the top of your mat as you inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to heel toe the toes all the way to touch with the sliver of light between the heels. Once again, inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Heavy in your heels, bend your knees, chair pose. Sinking back here, you should be able to lift all 10 toes, stacking your knees over your hips. Really nice. See if you can lift the chest forward, opening up the heart on your inhale. Exhale, you're going to take your hands down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, feet go back into that plank pose. Now, option here to lower knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga if you're ready. Exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra pose. Exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Now this is your first full downward facing dog, so feel free to pedal out your feet, rising high to your tippy toes, sink those heels down. Really work to press the chest back towards your thighs, creating concavity into the upper back as you release your head. Good, finding some stillness. We're going to move through a couple sun salutation A's. Know that you can always skip chaturangas and go right back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, rise to your toes. Looking forward, walk, step, or float your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, sweeping arms up towards the sky. Exhale, seal hands in, heart center. Inhale, reaching arms high. Exhale, hinge as you forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, feet back. Optional vinyasa, back through to your downward facing dog. You travel. Good, 3 rounds of breath. Imagine each inhale lifting your tailbone higher. And each exhale, sinking those heels down a little bit deeper. Inhale, rise to your toes. Looking forward, walk, step, float your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Exhale, seal hands in, heart center. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hinge as you forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, feet back. Optional vinyasa, back to that downward facing dog. Good, allow those heels to sink low. As you inhale, we're going to float that right leg high, 3-legged downward facing dog. As you exhale, draw your knees to your nose, your shoulders over the wrists, hollow out your belly. Stepping right foot between your hands, lower left heel down 45 degrees as you rise up, warrior A. Virabhadrasana 1, keeping your shoulders and hips square to the front of the room. If you need to, you can heel toe that right foot out a little bit more to pull that left hip forward. As we inhale, send the energy up to your fingertips. As you exhale, you're going to bind and interlace at your low back. We're going to inhale, slide the knuckles down the back left leg, opening up heart and chest. Exhale, humbly bound. Sinking right shoulder inside of that right knee, lower chin to your chest and send your gaze towards your navel. Now notice if your hips begin to open to the left side of the room. See if you can roll that left hip back forward and maybe dropping your torso a little bit more inside of that right leg as you release your head and your knuckles reach to the front of the room. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, sink a little bit lower. On your next inhale, we rise up. We release your hands, sweeping arms up towards the sky. We're going to open up into a warrior bee. As you open up into your warrior bee, you might need to widen your stance a little bit here. Tracking right knee forward, lower shoulders down away from your ears, and stretch actively through your fingertips. Find a little bit more depth as you bend into that right knee. And then flip the right palm up, and as you exhale, reverse. Left hand down, right arm reaches up and back. Now keep the integrity of the bend in that right knee by reaching it forward and lifting up and out of that right side body. Inhale. Exhale, side angle, right elbow, right thigh. Left arm can reach up. You have the same options as before. In that modified version, you can reach that left arm forward, or you can slide that right hand inside of that right ankle. See if you can keep your hips and shoulders stacked and your gaze underneath that left underarm. Gonna hold for 2. As we inhale, we're gonna come back up. We're gonna take 2 straight legs, pivoting all 10 toes to the left, reaching your arms high. Exhale, Prasarita. Take your hands to the left long edge of your mat as you fold in with wide legs. Couple options here. You could walk your hands in line with your feet if you want a little bit more. You could walk your fingertips forward. See if you can shift more weight into the balls of the feet to maintain a relationship between your hips, your knees, and your ankles. Exhale, fold it in a little bit deeper. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. We lift halfway. Now, if you have a really wide stance, you might want to shorten it here, bringing the feet in a little bit closer together. And then from here, you're going to take your left hand down. Your right arm is going to go high. Now we're going to start to bend into this right knee, opening up that inner left thigh. And you rotate your chest to the front of the room while pressing the back of that right hand towards the back of the room. Take a deep breath in. Send your gaze up to the right fingertips. And then we're going to come into that runner's twist. We're already set up through the twist. You're going to set that left hand inside of that right foot. Pivoting forward, that right arm still reaches high. Side plank. As you exhale, step that right foot back, stacking hips and stacking shoulders. If you need to modify, lower that left knee down. If you want more, you hover that right foot up and away from the left. Nice, Dustin. Take an inhale. Exhale, plank pose. Lower right hand down, option for that Ardha Vinyasa, or you go right back into that downward facing dog. Inhale, we float the left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Hold. And then we're going to step that left foot between your hands. Warrior A, drop that back right heel down as you inhale, sweeping your arms high. Squaring off the hips, pull that right hip forward, big bend in that left knee, reaching up through your fingertips. Before we exhale, send your hands to your low back. Body your hasta and start to extend your knuckles down to the back right heel as you inhale. Exhale, humbly bound, left shoulder inside of that left knee. Allow your head to fall, send your gaze to your navel. See if you can reach your knuckles forward a little bit more and press into the outer edge of that back right foot to pull the right hip forward. Beautiful. Inhale. Exhale. On your next inhale, we rise up, release your fingertips, and as we exhale, open up Warrior B. Again, you can widen your stance here if it was short for that Warrior A. And track that left knee forward, extend through your fingertips, and flip the left palm. Exhale, we reverse. Right hand down, left arm reaches up. Keep bending actively through that left knee and lifting up into the side body. Inhale. Exhale, side angle, left elbow, left thigh. Right arm can reach up, it can reach forward. You can slide that left hand inside of that left foot if you're looking for more. Or maybe your gaze goes underneath that right underarm. Inhale. Coming back up into your warrior B, you're going to straighten out both legs, pivot your toes in. As we inhale, we open up the chest. As we exhale, we send your hands to the right long edge of your mat, prasarita. Exhale, fold it in deeply. Inhale, we're going to lift halfway. Right hand goes underneath the face, left arm goes high. We open up the chest, the front of the room. Now begin to bend into that left knee, keep that right leg straight, and then pivot your heart open to the front as you press the back of that left hand to the back of the room. Maybe bending a little bit deeper here. We're going to maintain the twist of the upper body to come into your runner's twist. We send that right hand inside of that left foot as we pivot to the ball of the right toes. Inhale, up to your left fingertips. Exhale, side plank, stepping left foot back on top of your right, Vashisthasana. Remember, you can lower right knee down if you need to modify, or you can hover left foot up away from the right. So strong. Take an inhale. Exhale, your left hand goes down, plank pose. You can take that Ardha Vinyasa, or you can go right back into that downward facing dog. Inhale, rise to your toes. Look forward and walk. Step, float your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend deeply into your knees, chair pose. As we sit heavily into those heels and open up your chest, send energy up to your fingertips. Now you could stay in this chair pose, or I'm taking you into a crow setup. Maybe you just work the crow setup, never lifting your feet away from the mat. We're going to send your hands down underneath the shoulders, spreading fingertips wide. You rise the tips of your toes, sending knees to triceps, and then just start to lean forward. Pull your navel in towards your spine. And if you lean forward, maybe you lift one foot up, maybe you start to lift the other, or maybe you can begin to lift both and gaze forward, press into your hands, navel to your spine. Really nice, really strong. Take it out your way, through that vinyasa, back to that downward facing dog. From your down dog, send that right leg high. Exhale, right knee, left tricep. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee, right tricep. Inhale, right leg goes high. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the right foot between your hands. Crescent lunge. Stay on the ball of the back left foot as you rise up. Now, if you feel off balance, widen your stance a little bit here, or take that left foot in a little bit. With a big bend in that right knee, reaching up through your fingertips, we're going to charge this forward. As you exhale, you send your fingertips back and you reach the crown of the head forward. Hovering belly and chest away from this right thigh, squeeze your triceps in together. Make the arms really active, and then reach the ball of that back left foot like you're coming forward. Now we're going to take a little hovered warrior C. You're going to bend into that right knee, and you're going to lift the left foot up. So keep a bend here. Maybe the left toes just come an inch or two away from the mat here. Hold. Maybe you bend that right knee a little bit further for 2. We're going to come into your revolved half moon. That left hand lowers, that right arm extends high, and then you square your hips off by rotating that left pinky toe down. If you've got the balance, you can send your gaze up to the right fingertips. Inhale. Exhale. As we exhale, we're going to send that right hand down. Inhale, halfway lift in the supported warrior C. Bend into that right knee, runner's twist. Left hand lands inside that right foot, right arm goes high. As we exhale, you're going to thread this right arm inside of that right leg and straighten out the right leg as you reach the right fingertips towards that left knee. Drop your head down. See if you can flex the right toes towards the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, you're going to look to the top of your mat. Set that right hand down. Let's come back into Prasarita. Pivoting all 10 toes over to the left, you fold it in here. So I'm going to give you a couple options here. You can stay in this forward fold. If you've got an inversion, you could take your feet up towards the sky. You can maybe bend in and out of each knee. Just fold. Find whatever shape it is here that you need. You've got about 3 more rounds of breath. Coming back to center, lowering your feet down. You're gonna rise, take your hands underneath the shoulders, lifting halfway. Place your hands onto your hips as we flat back come to rise. Release your arms up for starfish pose. Take an inhale, exhale. You're gonna pivot onto that right heel, coming back into your warrior B. Now as you lower your shoulders down away from your ears, you keep it bent in that right knee, flipping right palm up. Exhale, we reverse. Open up the right side body. Exhale, we're gonna come into that side angle. Right elbow, right thigh, left arm reaches up. Now I really want you to reach up through the left fingertips, and we're gonna send the gaze forward beyond your right toes. We're coming into your Ardha Chandrasana, your half moon. Try not to use momentum as you send that right hand torso length out underneath you, underneath the right shoulder, stacking hips and stacking shoulders, you blossom open. If you want Shavasana, you can always bend that back left leg, reaching back with that left hand. Maybe you want to try a balance by lifting the right fingertips away from the ground for 2. And 1, bend into that right knee. We're going to land back safely into that warrior B and then reverse. Exhale, we're going to windmill the hands down. And then coming into Salam Mananjane, you're going to drop the left knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms high. And then finding that hovered Ardha Hanuman, you're going to float your fingertips back, straighten out that right leg, and reach the crown of the head towards your toes. Again, squeeze your biceps toward one another. Pull that left hip forward, maybe lowering your chin to your chest. 2. And 1, we lift back up, bending into that right knee. Open up the chest, send your hands down, standing split. Tucking left toes underneath. Left heel travels high as you forward fold. Now options here, you can find a balancing standing split. You could stay here. If you've got handstand hops in your practice, you may want to take feet up towards the sky. You have about 5 rounds of breath. Good. 3. When you're ready, step that left foot down to meet the right. Inhale, we halfway lift. Exhale, we forward fold. Keeping your hands on the ground, pop to the balls of your feet. So as you lift your heels high, you're squeezing ankle bones together. We're gonna come into a toe stand. You're gonna start to lower your hips towards your heels. Not coming all the way down, I want you to keep your hips hovered, and if you can, lift your hands up as well, coming into this toe stand. Squeezing ankles together. Take an inhale. Exhale. Drop your hands down, take your hips high, lower heels, and forward fold. Feel free to separate your feet a little bit wider here, dangling. Let's hold in a forward fold of your choice. 3. 2. Heel toe your toes back to touch, and as you inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, hands down, feet back. You've got your optional vinyasa back to that downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, left knee, right tricep. Inhale, left leg high. Left knee, left tricep. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Step left foot down. Crescent lunge, staying on the ball of the back right foot. You rise that big bend in that left knee. Now reaching tall through your fingertips, lower shoulders down away from your ears. Plug your belly in towards your spine, and as you exhale, we're going to send the hands back. Begin to hinge in this hovered crescent lunge, squeezing triceps and arms toward one another. Now really lift to the ball of that right foot. You're almost weightless into the right toes. That's going to take you into this bent leg, warrior C. As you press forward, you begin to hover the right toes up. Maybe a deeper bend in that left knee. Keep squeezing your arms together. You've got 2. Revolve your half moon. Right hand goes down, left leg straightens as we blossom open here. Now rotate the right pinky toe down. If you want to challenge yourself, send your gaze to your left fingertips. Try to square off your hips. Inhale. Exhale, left hand goes down, supported warrior C. You're going to look to the top of your mat. We're going to come into that runner's twist. Right hand lands. Is that where we went? Left arm high. I have no idea. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, we're going to take that left hand and thread it inside of that left leg, straightening it out here. You reach your left fingertips towards that back right knee and lower the head down. If you need less, pop that right foot in. Looking to the top of your mat, you land both hands down. Prasarita, we walk our hands to the right long edge of the mat. Again, you've got various options here. If you've done a couple forward folds, try walking your fingertips forward. Almost like you're coming into a really wide-legged downward facing dog, finding that chest stretch. You get to the tips of your fingers, you send your tailbone back, and you send your gaze to your navel. Good, you've got 3, 2, walk your hands up underneath your shoulders. Squeezing inner thighs together, place your hands to your hips. Flat back, we come to rise. Once the crown of the head is tall, sweeping arms up. Warrior B, pivot onto that left heel, bending into that left knee. Reaching through your fingertips, flip the left palm up, and exhale, we reverse. Exhale, side angle, left elbow, left thigh. Same options here, but you're going to really reach through that right fingertips, lifting up. We're going to come into that half moon, your Ardha Chandrasana. Look forward in front of your left toes. We're going to send that left hand torso length out in front of you as we float the right foot up. Opening up, stacking hips and shoulders. If you want more, hover left hand. If you want to take Chapasana, you can bend back right leg, reaching through that right hand. As we hold, keep flexing right toes for 3, for 2. Bending into that left knee, we're going to land in that warrior B. We reverse it out. As we exhale, we're going to take your hands down, frame the left foot. Pivot onto the ball of the right toe, squaring off your hips. Drop right knee down, untuck right toes. We sweep arms up. Salamba Anjane, opening up the chest. As we exhale, sweep the hands back, straighten out the left leg, coming into that hovered half Hanuman. You're going to reach crown of the head forward, squeeze triceps together, maybe lowering crown of the head towards your shin. Without using your hands, bend back into that left knee, sweeping arms high into that lunge. Exhale, hands go down, standing split. Right leg goes high as you fold over that left leg. 5 rounds of breath here. If you took those handstand hops, if you took a balancing standing split. Good. Two more rounds of breath. And then as you exhale, we're going to drop that right foot down to meet the left. Big toes touch. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, fold. Pop to the balls of your feet once again. Lifting heels high. We lower hips towards your heels. We're going to come into a garland pose. This time I want you to separate your knees. Lowering hips forward, you start to crawl your hands to the top edge of your mat. If you want to take traditional garland pose, you're going to wrap your arms in front of the shins, locating your heels, dropping chin to your chest, and fold, rounding the belly. Take about 2, maybe 3 more rounds of breath here. Walk your hands back up underneath your shoulders, straighten out your legs, find a forward fold. Now heel toe your feet hip distance apart. You can wrap peace fingers around big toes. You could find gorilla by sliding your hands underneath the feet, giving your wrists a little bit of a massage with your knees, and fold. Take your hands away from your feet. Heel toe your toes back to touch. Inhale, you halfway lift. Exhale, you forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, sweeping arms up towards the sky. Exhale, seal hands in heart center. Inhale, reaching your arms high. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, feet back. You've got that optional vinyasa. Back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, we float the right leg high. Exhale, right knee, same tricep. Hold and squeeze. Now lower it down to that right wrist, coming into your half pigeon pose. If you need to, you can send that right heel closer towards your left hip. As you lower it down, untuck your left toes. You can always slide something underneath this right hip for more support. If a half pigeon pose does not serve your knees or hips, just come onto your back in a figure 4 shape. Inhale, we lift the heart. Exhale, sleeping swan. Walking your hands forward, you lower belly and chest over the thighs. You can take your arms, cross them, and lower the third eye down onto your forearms, finding softness in the space between your shoulders. Now we're going to stay here for a few rounds of breath. Working to square your hips off. If you are looking for more, you could work to take that right shin more parallel to that front edge of your mat. If you're experiencing discomfort into that right knee, then I would encourage you to take that right heel closer towards your left hip and fold. If you have any other variations here, like a mermaid or a king pigeon, you could walk your hands up towards your hips, bending that back left leg, maybe finding that quad stretch. Again now, wherever you're at, take your hands back up underneath your shoulders, lifting torso up and away from that right thigh. Tuck your left toes underneath. Take that right leg back high. Drop that right heel to the left glute to fan open your hips. If you want to flip your dog, coming into that wild thing, you could take a little baby back bend here. Back to that downward facing dog, right hand, right foot plants. So as you send that right foot down, that left heel goes high. Exhale, left knee, same tricep. Take it down to that left wrist, coming into your half pigeon pose. Untucking back right toes, square off your hips. Take anything that you need for support underneath your left glute. And then exhale, forward fold, walking your hands to the top edge of your mat. Allow the upper body to be soft and relaxed. And there are ways to make this more intense. If a half pigeon pose does not work for your body, please come to your back, taking a figure 4 by crossing left ankle on top of right thigh. And taking a few moments here to find softness. Find surrender. To catch up with your breath. Whatever variations you took on the first side, make sure you give yourself the opportunity to explore them here on your second side. If you did mermaid, king pigeon, again, to walk your hands up underneath your shoulders, coming out of your half pigeon pose. Tucking right toes underneath. We float that left heel high, dropping left hip towards the right heel, fan and stack open the hips. You can flip into that wild thing if you like, finding that back bend. And then send that left hand down, sending left foot down into your downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Now we're going to come onto your hips. If you want to hop forward, you can. If you're coming with me, just drop to your knees, lower your hips to the center of your mat, and begin to reach your feet out to the top edge. Now you're going to flex your toes, meaning you can keep a little micro bend in your knees if you need to do so. Take the flesh off and away from your sits bones, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, we sweep the arms high. Exhale, forward fold, Paschimottanasana, reaching your hands towards your toes. Allow your belly to fall towards your thighs and crown of the head to reach towards the tops of your feet. Lower shoulders down away from your ears. As you exhale, fold it in nice and deep. Holding for 3, for 2. Begin now to walk your hands back. We're going to come into boat pose Navasana. See if you can lift one knee up into the chest and then the second one. If you need more support, lower your hands down or even keep your toes down to the ground. Try to lift your chest towards your thighs, and if you want more, send your arms up overhead like you're holding a beach ball there, or straighten out your legs. We're going to hold strong for 3. Last 2. Take your hands, grasp them behind the thighs, hollow out your belly, lower chin to your chest, and safely re-roll onto your back. Nice and slow. Pull your knees in, give them a quick squeeze as a release. And then set your feet down, heels in line with your sits bones and hands outside of your hips. We're going to take 2 bridge poses here. Pressing into all 4 corners of your feet, begin to lift your hips up towards the sky, pressing firmly into your upper arm bones. Refrain from letting your knees sway out to the side. Lift your chin slightly away from your heart. Hold. Inhale. Exhale, we begin to lower. 1 vertebrae at a time. So option for your second bridge, if you've got a block, you can take a supported bridge. If you have a full wheel, you can take your hands outside of your ears, or you can take that standard bridge as is. So wherever you're going here, you're going to press into your feet. You're going to lift your hips up towards the sky, coming into your second and your final back bend. Holding for 3, for 2, and then lower it down nice and slow. Heel toe your feet to the wide edges of your mat. Separate your knees wide and just start to windshield wipe your knees right to left. Finding a little internal and external rotation of the hips. As we go side to side. Now once your sides are even, coming back to center, we're going to send the feet up towards the sky for a waterfall pose. If you need a little bit of lift, grab maybe a blanket or a block underneath your hips to give yourself some support. Yeah, Dustin back here is showing that. I'm going to scoot forward so you can see where his placement is underneath his hips. If you've got a shoulder stand or a candlestick in your practice, feel free to take your hands to your low back and your toes up towards the sky, just being very mindful of the neck, never looking side to side. And then we're going to find an inversion here for at least 5 full rounds of breath. Couple of different counter stretches from here. If you're in shoulder stand, you can drop your toes behind you, coming into plow, or even ear pressure pose. If you're in that supported waterfall, maybe you take tiny little circles on the ceiling with your heels, giving your low back a massage with that block. Carefully when you're ready. Lower down, 1 foot at a time. If you have something underneath you, go ahead and remove it. Coming onto your back, pull your knees tightly in towards your chest, where you're going to find a supine twist. Send your arms out to a T and lower your knees over to the right side of the room and send your gaze over to the left middle finger. Now, if you wanted more here, you could straighten out your legs. You could take that right hand to the left ankle bone if you're still looking for more. Plug that left shoulder down and find that rotation of the spine. Gaze goes up, legs come back to center. Slowly lowering them over to the left and send your gaze over that right shoulder. gaze goes up to center, knees come to center, give them a squeeze. Maybe draw your third eye into your knee, balling up nice and tight. If there's anything else that you need to close out the remainder of your practice, you could do so now. But when we're ready, we're going to come into your Shavasana. Begin to extend your heels, the bottom corners of the mat, laying flat, laying still. Close your eyes, release your jaw. And allow yourself to melt entirely into your mat. Maintaining your deep breath. Please know that you can stay in Shavasana for as long as you like or need. But when you're ready, begin to bring movement to your fingertips and toes, your wrists and ankles. And on your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead, stretching long, stretching tall. As you exhale, hug your knees tightly towards your chest, giving yourself a squeeze, a moment of gratitude for your healthy bodies. And then carefully roll to whichever side feels best for you, coming into a fetal position. You could stay here or make your way up into a comfortable seated pose facing the front of the room. Keep your eyes closed as you find Sukhasana or any other comfortable seated position. Allow your hands to rest heavily upon your thighs, stacking shoulders on top of hips, lifting crown of the head tall. Begin to bend your elbows, sealing your hands to heart center. Allow your thumbs to fall to sternum space. Taking a moment here to honor this place of love, this place of compassion. We send our thumbs to third eye center, honoring this place of intuition and wisdom. Inhale together. Exhale, we bow as we say Namaste.